Hey everybody, this is herculespetix, founder, curator, docent, and gift shop employee of the herculespetix Academy of Comic Book Studies. Today we're going to be looking at one of my favorite comics when I was a teenager, Night Music by P. Greg Russell. This is a collection of a lot of his short pieces that he had created over the years. Some he had created just for this little mini-series. Published by Eclipse Comics. I believe this is 1983? Nope, 1984 to 1985. Man, yeah, I think these came out when I was in high school, a senior. And I love this shit. I was just blown away. I had already liked P. Greg Russell's work from, growing up reading Kill Raven and some other stuff he did. Seeing him in Epic Illustrated. But man, this was a revelation to me, this stuff. And some really great stuff. Let's check them out. Okay, number one. This is a blow-up of a panel from the first story. And I wish it was a new cover. Beautiful nonetheless. So in 77, 78, it was like the second graphic novel to come out from Eclipse. It was actually the second publication period from Eclipse. And they did a Night Music graphic novel. And this story was in that, in black and white. So all of these comics, including this one, are colored by P. Greg Russell, which is a good thing, because P. Greg Russell is one of the great colorists of comics, as well as being an amazing writer and artist. Definitely one of the best cartoonists ever to grace the comics field. And his coloring is amazing. So it's always a treat when he colors his own work. Here's, we've got the little title page, Breakdown on the Starship Remembrance. Oh, look at this. Beautiful classic 70s P. Greg Russell. It's when he was more illustrative. He's definitely streamlined his style in the 90s and the noughts and the teens. Very more cartoony in a way. Not silly cartoony, but, just more streamlined. But he was going all for broke in these 70s comics, just illustrating the shit out of every panel. And the writing is really good. This is P. Greg Russell's probably his first writing, because, he had done a few things with other writers. Though I think he might have written that Doctor Strange annual that kind of introduced him to the comic world in 76. Just to give you a flavor of, it's almost like pre-Alan Moore and Neil Gaiman writing. Computer-animated geometrics float in mechanized balletic grace across glowing fluorescent screens. 10,000 miles of wires and circuitry run river-like through walls and floors and ceilings, buzzing in secret alliance. So this came out in 77, 78, right? That's way better than any of the writing from anyone writing in comics, pretty much. And, he wasn't even a writer, really. He's mostly just an artist. So basically, the main character of this comic is Lieutenant Jordan Alexander. And this is part one, The Ocean at Night. And he's on the spaceship. And he's kind of having a panic attack. He's kind of freaking out. Not only is he such a great illustrator, but such a good storyteller. Like this sequence of panels, just so good. And the colors are wonderful, I think. These are really nice colors. So they take Jordan to the doctor. And all of these captions, just beautifully written, really well written. And so I guess the problem is Jordan Alexander's, he's a dreamer. I didn't show you earlier. It's kind of tiny, but he has like Flash Gordon posters in his room, and Star Wars posters, and Silver Surfer. He was basically a sci-fi kid who just loved the idea of outer space and then joined the Space Patrol. And the doctor's saying, how could this have gotten by us? Whoever conducted a psychomental screening should have realized that such a ridiculous romantic would react adversely to an environment like this. Because, space is not like Buck Rogers. It's boring. So every day you're testing, looking at panels and, whatever, pressing some buttons. And it's just day after day of just traveling through the void. So the doctor gives him a sedative and he has a flashback to his youth. It's 2010, in the far-flung future. And they show him as a kid reading all these great old comics, Weird Science, Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., Magnus Robot Fighter. So he's already kind of a dreamy kid, always staring at the stars, staring at the sky. Look at that beautiful art. So he studies to join the Space Corps. And already he's just like, is this being an astronaut? Just studying like astrophysics and equations? It's not very romantic. So he makes it. He gets shot into space. He's a part of the Space Corps. And pretty soon he realizes that it's not like his dreams. This great little dream image here. So when he wakes up from the sedative, he's like, I gotta get out of here. And he sneaks to one of the escape pods. I think it's the only one on the ship. And there's a guard there. And he shoots him. He puts it on stun. He's a nice guy. And he steals the escape pod. So he's, at this point in human history, man has been in the stars, and there's a bunch of planets that, we've charted. Some can support life, most can't. So he has this information. So he sets his gyroscope to head to one of these planets that has Earth-like conditions. And he lands there. And it's beautiful. It's kind of like a little paradise. Once again, look at this great... See, this is good photo referenced art. Last episode, 2 episodes ago, I was talking about... But P. Greg Russell obviously takes photos of models, but he just adds his cartooniness to it. So it doesn't look like some boring, static photo touched up, Just he knows how to do it right. And it looks beautiful. Also very telling P. Craig Russell tree, all gnarled and twisting in this crazy, fantastical way. Look at that. That's P. Greg Russell. That's his forte, drawing shit like that. So after a couple days, the ship that he came from, the Starship Remembrance, it can't land without a spaceport. It can get close to the Earth, but it literally just can't land on just a flat surface. So they're basically sending him transmissions. And they're even beaming it over like a huge microphone. And they're saying, hey, come on, you got to come back. We need the space pod. It's the only one. We don't have time for this. We're trying to explore the whole galaxy, and this is already a delay, It's beautiful shit. So this starship takes off. And he goes back to the escape pod. And this is interesting. So this is Divergence's alternative ending 1. He gives you a choice. And in this alternative ending, Jordan goes to the ship, pours some gasoline on the main control panel, and blows the ship up. And he runs from the ship so he can survive. Look at that panel, how great that is. I think that's his Steranko influence. P. Greg Russell seems like a much gentler artist. He's got that gentleness to him. But he's definitely influenced by Estorego and Al Williamson. He loves Al Williamson. I forgot to mention, since this is a comic channel, I should call out on this. When he's having the flashback to his childhood, when he's reading the comics, he even does like major shout outs to, he says, Jack Kirby and Wally Wood fire his imagination, and Al Williamson, a god, sends him wailing through the ether. So he's definitely a fanboy. Just that explosion is beautiful. God, every panel in this is fucking outstanding. I would like to see some of the original black and white, though. Here's Divergence's alternative ending, too. And in this one, Jordan gets into the ship, and he heads for the stars. And he's not going to, he's going to just go to planets and have adventure and have a real, sci-fi journey instead of a boring routine, space mission. Sorry. Every panel's knocking me out. It's knocking the socks off my ass. Beautiful. Here we have the drinking song of Earth's sorrow, translated from the German by Patrick C. Mason. This is, I believe, a Gustav Mahler song. And it's basically a little poem. And he interprets it. And the way that Pete Gregory-Petix interprets it, because the poem is basically saying, though the wine beckons from its golden chalice, do not drink yet, first hear my song. But he's basically showing all these random images. Looks like Vegas here. But what he takes from the poem is that it's this guy committing seppuku, ritual suicide. So, it's very poetic, visually as well as literally. Or narratively. But man, that's some beautiful art. Oh, this is nice. Unto this world. Once again, this is just a poem. But it looks like he's snuck Elric into this. It doesn't say like copyright Michael Moorcock, so maybe it's just an Elric lookalike. But he uses this kind of colored pencil technique in this, which he usually doesn't color this way. It looks really nice. It gives it this like feel of like antiquity, or it's like from the past, like dreamlike coloring. And so this is what I mean. This totally looks like Elric. So I don't know though. Who knows? I guess Michael Moorcock doesn't own the copyright on tall, pale people. Nice stuff. Okay, what's next? Night music number 2. Once again, unfortunately, they didn't get Pete Gregory-Petix to do a new cover. This is just a panel from one of the stories inside. Dance on a Razor's Edge. A ballet on the death of Yukio Mishima. This is another beauty. Look at this flawless cartooning. Flawless art. And once again, we start with the main character here is committing seppuku. And I don't know why when we were kids, they always told us it was called Harry Carey. I don't think that's a real Japanese term. I don't know where that comes from. So I assume this is Yukio Mishima. They call him Kimitake, which could be another one of his names. I don't know. But he's reminiscing on his childhood. He had a very smothering grandmother who'd make him stay in her sick room. And one day he actually snuck out and saw this beautiful field of lilies. And it seems like he's just he's a weird kid. And he grew up to be a weird man, He says that he has never truly existed until now at the ripe age of 20. All these colors are so perfect. So he sticks it in his gut and slices across. And he remembers a dream when he was 14. Drawn in this weird, strange style. I love the body language on this. And this is, P. Craig Russell's still probably like in his mid-20s at this point. He's still pretty young. It's just amazing that such a young guy could be, like, this is masterful work. He thinks about Saint Sebastian. Saint Sebastian was the patron saint of porcupines. Not really. That's being silly. This obviously looks like photo referenced art. It's beautiful. I love this image. It's this sound, this roar he notices as he's dying. It swarms about him like 1,000 winged creatures. And we see this amazing image. Then it became silence again. In the heart of the silence hung a glowing disc of white that beat in time with the silence. It's kind of strange. It's a Mr. A's calling card. Steve Ditko should sue him. And he says the disc began to turn faster, and the universe leapt outward, a spiraling, an acceleration, outward. I like the ending, though. But then we must not discount the possibility that in spite of all his passion for purity and beauty, Kimitake may have been just a bit unbalanced. So, because this guy, all his thoughts in his head are so poetic and, grandiose and fatalistic. But, chances are he was just crazy. Here we have La Sonambula and the City of Sleep, a fragment of a dream. This was also in that original Night Music edition from '78, the black and white graphic novel. And this is just a totally, beautiful dream, whatever. Just great stuff. Look at that. That's fucking insane. Not only the skill to pull it off, but the imagination to envision it in the first place. Oh, God. I love P. Craig Russell stuff so much. Like, this is just a dream story. It doesn't really have much going for it as far as plot-wise, or nothing. It's just whatever. But the art is just, I could just stare at his art. It's so satisfying. I have no idea what's going to happen in this panel. This woman's in bed. I don't care. It's just fucking gorgeous. Look at this, just decoration. It's insane, insanely beautiful. I miss his old style, I gotta say. He's still a consummate cartoonist, but he's got this it's almost like a clear line style now he has. So we see all these beautiful angelic creatures, but then we see these, like, they're opposite. These are like something from Lovecraft. One of them tries to snag one of these perfect angel creatures, but fails. They're as horrifying as these angels are beautiful. Look at that, just the panels. Just great stuff. It just doesn't stop. And then we see, I guess this is all the dream of that woman in that beautiful bed. So whatever it is, whatever. But you know, I don't give a shit about the story. It's so fucking gorgeous. Oh, I love this one. I think this is called The Insomniac. And it's, you know, narrated by this guy who has insomnia. And he's recounting a dream he has, a recurring dream. And just look how it's all drawn, all weird and crazy. P. Greg Russell in this comic employs many different styles. And I believe, well, we'll find out at the end. Never mind. I'll hold that thought. I love these little weird cartoony characters all running into the blazing heart of the sun. So it's the end of the broadcasting day. This guy once again, you know, he nodded off. But now he's going to try to go to bed, which is always torturous for him. So when we see our protagonist, just beautiful, realistic art. But his dreams are just nuts. All different styles. And he just can't go to sleep. I like this 9-panel grid. P. Greg Russell never does this. Or maybe he has, but I've never seen it. And just to show the monotony of, you know, there's no panel gutters. It's just this unending monotony of trying to sleep. And you can't sleep. So he tries again. He tries to remember old faces from his high school. And I love this, how he draws, like this is, you know, memory. Because your memory kind of clouds over what people really look like. You just have a vague impression of what they look like. So he tries to attempt that in his drawing. Totally different style for P. Greg Russell. He recalls his childhood, and it's this amazing, cool abstract drawing. Like a mother robot, and there's a hammer perched over his head, ready to give punishment. And just all this crazy cartooning is so un-P. Greg Russell-like. You'd never guess. Here he is, he's having a dream that his brother is a vampire TV set that must be killed. So he wakes up again from this nightmare. Some people count sheep. He counts comic strip artists who've done work he likes. This list is quite amazing, actually. Every name on here is just, yeah, these are all the best cartoonists ever. I almost agreed with every single one. Like, P. Greg Russell knows his shit. He's a real fanboy. So now we see he tries the memory trick again to go to sleep. He tries to remember all of his college chums' dormitory faces. And look, this is a totally different style, more defined because it's more recent. So his memory's clear of what his college chums look like. More just weird abstract art. Excuse me. He has this other beautiful dream. I love this style. Very, I don't know how to describe it. Kind of loose. And she's just basically saying this weird poem. It's kind of cool, though. They have blue night suits and swords of glittering length, swords of deepest reflections, scimitars springing. I love this deep blue here. Once again, another montage of him, you know, writhing in bed, trying to sleep. And he sees these beautiful images in his head. Once again, all different styles. Well, this is classic P. Greg Russell style. The Lady of Light and the Dark Mother. And look at this. Once again, Saint Sebastian, afloat in a sea of lard. This looks like, I don't know, like new wave comics. This is nutty. But it's amazing. So P. Greg Russell's totally trying this other style, and it's brilliant. So he wakes up again from this oppressive dream. But then finally, the good dark mother brings him to sleep. And God, look how beautiful that is. That that aqua blue. It's just, oh, so nice. And just, she's perfect. That looks like the benevolent spirit that allows you to sleep, finally. The dark mother, the good dark mother. So he goes back to that dream from the beginning. And the same thing happens. And he looks like he's finally sound asleep. He's snoring. And then his cat jumps on his face and meows. And he's just like, kill, he's thinking. So he finally got to sleep and his stupid cat woke him up. Oh, that's good stuff. I love that comic. Here we have number 3, and this is a totally different direction. This is an adaptation of one of Rudyard Kipling's Jungle Tales from the Jungle Book. Beautiful cover of Mowgli. And we can see the art is a little different because it's mid-80s P. Craig Russell. Still wonderful, you know. Beautiful stuff. The King's Ankus by Rudyard Kipling. Once again, beautiful art, beautiful coloring. So Mowgli's hanging out with his python friend. Or is that a boa constrictor? I can't remember. His name's Kaa. And they're horsing around. And I like Mowgli, I guess, has come back from the world of man. And he realizes that the jungle's way better. And he describes it. Mowgli's very poetic. The way he talks. In his simple, you know, jungle style. Because he has a loose grasp on a small vocabulary. And a lot of their talks are just kind of talking about human nature in general. Oh, this is such nice stuff. So Kaa leads him to this ancient crumbling city. It's been abandoned. It's like a hidden city somewhere in India. And he's like, yeah, I saw a white cobra here. He protects this treasure. And the white cobra engages them in conversations, very tense. Because the white cobra is basically saying, I'm probably going to kill you. I'm supposed to protect this treasure hoard. And Mowgli seems very unafraid. He's just talking with him. There's the treasure hoard. And they're kind of chiding the rattlesnake or whatever it is, the cobra. They're saying like, dude, there's no one up in the city anymore. There probably hasn't been in a long time. You're protecting this treasure for no reason. I mean, this is all crap. You can't eat it. What good is this stuff? You know, Mowgli doesn't get treasure. He doesn't give a shit about money. But he does like this stick. The Ankus. He likes the jewels on it. It has a nice color, he thinks. So he's like, hey, can I have this? And basically he's like saying, sure, you can have it, but you probably won't leave this chamber alive. And the whole time Kaa is just like, oh shit. I gotta keep my eye on this guy. Because Kaa's a really good friend of Mowgli. And he's getting more threatening, so Kaa's really being protective, Kaa's wrapping himself around Mowgli. So Mowgli definitely throws the thing at the cobra and pins him. And when he checks opens his mouth, it's like his poison's all dried up. That's how old the snake is. But he tells him that the Ankus is death. It's like cursed. Because this whole thing is basically like morality lesson about, mankind's greed. How just possessing something like this is gonna people will die because of it. So he actually throws it away because, he's like, you can't eat this shit. Who gives a shit? Give me some food. He has a little chat with his panther brother, friend. Has a nightmare about the ungulate. And the panther says, a man has taken the ungulate that you threw away. So he says, let's follow his trail. Let's see if that cobra was right. Let's see if the ungulate does bring death to everyone who comes near it. So they follow the trail. I kind of want to read the Jungle Book now because I think this is, P. Greg Russell pretty closely adapts these when he adapts novels and operas. It's the dialogue's really rich and interesting. The way, in Mowgli's weird half animal, half human tongue describe following the trail of this man. I don't know, it's just really engaging and really interesting. So here they go. They find the first guy who took the ungulate. He's dead, shot with an arrow. They keep going. They're like, yeah, the ungulate's not here. Let's see what else it's caused. What other misery. Another guy, probably the guy who killed this guy. And there's still, the ungulate's missing. They're still on the trail. These colors I'm not so thrilled about. In the mid-'80s, he was experimenting with this kind of speckled color, which at the time was very novel. I mean, this is the first time, relatively around this time, when they had white paper and they could do full process colors in comics. So, they threw a lot of shit up against the wall to see what stuck. And I don't think I saw P. Greg Russell do this ever again. So I think it didn't stick, thankfully, because it's not nearly as nice as his beautiful solid colors. So they finally find the ungulate. And God, 4 died. These thieves all killed themselves over it. So he's like, the cobra's right. Yeah. That thing had a curse on it. But really, they're just talking about how, no, it's man's greed. We'll take something of beauty and turn it into a horrible, excuse to kill. And the epilogue is just a poem. Beautiful P. Greg Russell foliage and flora. So good at that. Oh, that's nice. This is a nice, all the credits for the 3 issues. And a little portfolio. Brunhilde. Let me see, I think that's from 77. Stranded. Beautiful, sci-fi. This is obviously an homage to Al Williamson. This is from 78. I think I've seen this as a kid. This was a black and white in a portfolio. It was a Scenes of Other Worlds portfolio. It's called something like that. It had Paul Galassi in it, Walt Simonson. So I think that's what this is from. Oh, and I love this one. This is fucking gorgeous. This is 79, and it's called Clings or a Casts a Spell. I think this might be a portfolio piece as well, but it doesn't say. But man, I wish I had this poster. Both of these. Some gorgeous stuff. And that's it, unfortunately, for Night Music, even though technically Night Music would be a subtitle for all the little micro and mini series that P. Greg Russell did for Eclipse. All of his little opera adaptations, which we'll be looking at, sometime shortly. I don't want to just do all P. Greg Russell. But, actually, I wouldn't mind. So this is the first mini-series, though. And hopefully in, I don't know, a few months, we'll get around to some of those other great Eclipse P. Craig Russell comics, because there's a lot of them. So I hope you enjoyed this as much as I did. I doubt you did, because this is like, to me, is just the shit. Especially, God, when I was a teenager, I must have reread these like once every couple weeks. I just open them up again and flip through them. I love this stuff. And I probably haven't looked at it in a long time. So I'm glad because of this channel, I have an excuse to go through these beautiful old comics and share them with you. So that's it. God, P. Craig Russell, I love that man. But I'll see you here next time at the Herculespetix Academy of Comic Book Studies.